Steph, a couple of days on, you had a bit of time to reflect. How's the mood going after the weekend?
Yeah, we were pretty flat in the rooms afterwards, but we just had a leadership meeting. It's going to be really important just to be up and about. We've earned the right for 2 home finals, so that's the positive, and we get a chance to come out this week.
You must still take plenty of positives out of the fact that you had so many shots at goal and maybe just a little tweak there, a bit better kicking for goal, you're right in.
I think that definitely played a part. We also won a lot of the key statistical areas, which usually holds you in good stead. They were really efficient when they went forward, and we weren't. So I'd say that played a part, but I don't want to take too much away from Richmond. They also were very slick and beat us up in times of the game.
How do you fix that efficiency?
I mean, sometimes it does just happen. I mean, you know, guys miss shots. Who knows the reason? It was a big stage, obviously, so you work on the mental side of dealing with that. But the efficiency, maybe a few of our shots came from a bit wide on the ground as well, so maybe try to get some more shots from the corridor. But yeah, also just experience on that stage I think will be better for it.
In the immediate aftermath of those sort of losses, difficult to process. I mean, you guys played pretty well and you were beaten by 47 points. Like, is it hard to kind of go, what happened there in the immediate aftermath?
I think so, because a lot of the guys probably felt like it was their fault that we lost. So you could see it in the body language. A lot of guys were pretty down on themselves. You're right, we did play well in some ways, but in other ways they were too good for us, especially the efficiency and the way they were able to move the ball against us. So yeah, it was really hard to deal with, but our job is to be excited about what we've got coming up now and learn what we can from the game, which we've been really good at, and now we just build and become a better team for it.
Mate, you just said that blokes were blaming themselves. I mean, is that stinging? Is that motivation? Is that enough to keep your heads up?
It is if we frame it in that right way in our own minds. So there'd be 2 ways to go about it. You could shy away from it thinking you haven't performed the way you wanted, or you could meet the challenge head on next week and become better for it. So as long as we take it in that way, in the latter way, we'll be better for it. So I'd like to think the boys will take it in that way.
I'm assuming you're pretty busy Saturday afternoon. You didn't watch the Giants, but have you had a chance to watch their game in the last day or so?
I watched bits and pieces after our game, but as you can imagine, I probably wasn't in the mood to watch footy at midnight after our loss. But I did see a bit of their stats, and obviously they did really well in contested ball, which they're pretty good at all the time, but they really beat the Bulldogs a lot in that area. They also were able to hold the ball in their front half a lot, so you'll find most teams, if they're able to do that, they tend to win the game, so we'll have to look at those areas.
It was a pretty brutal performance from them. They came out and they tried to rough the doggies up in a lot of ways. Are you expecting a similar sort of Giants outfit next week?
You'd think so. I mean, that's sort of the way they go about their business. They've got some tough guys who like to throw their weight around. And on a final stage, I'm sure they'll probably, if that worked for them on the weekend, they'll probably want to replicate that.
Do you engage that? Do you fight fire with fire?
Look, we've had experience with dealing with that against Port Adelaide. We were pretty proud that we just got on with the job and watched the footy and did what we needed to do. So that peripheral sort of stuff, we don't want to get sucked into that. We don't mind if we lose the off the ball battles as long as we win the on the ball battles.
Yeah, it'd be nice to play him without Toby Green, wouldn't it?
Yep, would be great. It would be great. It would be very good. Yeah.
What does he add to their mix, Steph? Like to me, he looks like probably the most dangerous bloke they've got. Like, how do you assess his impact on their performance?
I'm probably not an expert on Toby Green. I haven't watched their game from the weekend. I know over the years he's been, he's a very good small forward. He's very good mark and he's aggressive. So, and he's really, opportunistic and kicks his goals too. And he plays pretty hard. So, for all those reasons, he's a very good player.
Do you relish the opportunity? You talked about a lot of their guys like to intimidate. I guess one of them is the man that you come up against directly in Mummy. He is a different kind of ruckman in terms of he loves the tackles, he loves that hard stuff. Is he a tough guy to come up against? Oh,
he plays tough, yeah. We're not intimidated by any player though. we like to play tough ourselves. It's something we've been building this year. We're probably more worried about collectively, are we playing tougher than the opposition rather than individualising guys. So yeah, they do what they want. They should play tough, and we're going to play tough too.
Steph, your hard nut, your enforcer, Mitch Robinson. How's his hammy? What do you know? Can you give us an update? Do you expect him to play?
I think he's just had a scan, and I'm no doctor, so I don't want to comment if he's playing or not. But you know, if he does, great. If not, we've had a NEFL team that's performed incredibly well this year, which has given us a lot of depth. So if need be, we've got soldiers ready to stand up.
There's only one Robbo, though.
Yeah, there is only one Robbo, and he's had an unbelievable season. I think it's probably his best season. He's a big reason why we've done as well as we have. But you know, those wing spots, in the pre-season we had a lot of guys who were putting their hand up to play those roles. So a lot of those guys haven't had that many chances because Mitch has been doing so well. But if they get their chance this week, they'll be ready.
Can I just ask, have you seen him today? How's he walking? Is he proppy? Is he walking like he's got a hammy that's no good?
He's just currently in the gym running through his rehab exercises, so he looks okay, but that probably doesn't mean much.
Steph, Matt de Boer's done a great job at shutting down opposition midfielders. You'd have to think he'd probably get the job on Lockie Neal. How do you guys have to try and counter his effectiveness against your best possession getter?
Probably twofold. Probably the first is we got to look after Lockie and bring him into the game when the opportunity arises, but you don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul. So we've got a pretty deep midfield too. So we've got other guys that can be just as dangerous as Lockie. And so if we have to do more, then we'll do that as well.
It was a massive crowd on the weekend, obviously, a record crowd. A lot of them were Tigers fans. This weekend, you know, the Giants just don't have as big a supporting base. Are you expecting a much louder pro-Lions crowd on Saturday night?
Probably would, yeah. Richmond supporters were fairly loud and seemed to work in concert pretty well. They were sitting together, but our home supporters were great. They would sort of, I could hear as the Richmond chant started to come, our supporters would try to stifle that and start the Brisbane chant, which we really appreciate our supporters for. But yeah, you're right. We're probably going to have a better split this week. So it's going to be great if that's the case. We sort of experienced that against Geelong, and it was just electric out there. And I truly think that was a big reason why we actually got over the line in that game. So if there's anyone wondering whether to come along or not who are Lions fans, I'd implore them to do that.
Last time you played these guys was a really positive result for the club in Sydney. How much do you take from that result?
We take confidence out of that. We sort of match them at their own game to a level. Their stoppage stuff is really strong. And whilst I think they won the first possession and some of the contested stuff, we were able to win a lot of that sort of second phase stuff against them that night. Also just winning the game on the road, it was a big one for us. Having said that, they've probably got some players back at this time of year that they didn't in that game. And, you know, it's finals footy, so every game is incredibly tough. So, yeah, it takes some confidence, but if we don't rock up ready to play, then it won't mean much.
You're expecting the boys to practice their NFL backwards throws through the leagues this week of training?
No, we're just going to train the way we always have. We're going to keep to our process. There's your fun answer.
In saying it though, is there going to be extra focus on kicking it between the big sticks?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. We probably, in our minds, yes. We're not going to do more set shots, I wouldn't have thought. But just focusing on it, perhaps trying to replicate some of that pressure would be a good idea. But we always practice our set shots. It's not like we didn't practice them during the week and that's why we missed. So yeah, we probably stick to our process with that.